Welcome, dear viewers. Today we begin a long journey into the fascinating world of psychology. For the next 2 hours, I invite you to stay with me, to listen carefully and to reflect deeply. We will explore the ideas of great thinkers, Machiavelli, Freud, Jung, Maslow, and many others. Each of them opened a window into the human mind, and together they form a map of our inner world. Why should you watch until the very end? Because psychology is not just theory. It is a mirror that shows us who we are, why we act the way we do, and how we can change. And in the final part of this video, I will share a powerful exercise that can transform the way you see yourself and others. So stay with me because every minute will bring you closer to understanding your own mind. Let us begin with Niccolò Machiavelli, a man often misunderstood. His book, The Prince, is not only about politics, but also about human behavior. He argued that rulers must choose between being loved and being feared, and that fear is often more reliable. But what does this mean for us today? It means that power dynamics are everywhere, in the office, in relationships, even in friendships. Think about your workplace. Have you ever noticed how some leaders inspire loyalty through kindness, while others control through fear of punishment? Machiavelli would argue that the second approach is more stable. Yet, modern psychology shows us that fear may create obedience, but it really creates genuine respect. This tension between fear and love is still alive in every human interaction. Now, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, in your own life, do you rely more on being liked or on being respected? Do you sometimes use subtle pressure to get what you want, or do you prefer persuasion and empathy? These questions are not just about politics, they are about the psychology of everyday life. And this is where Machiavelli's insights remain surprisingly relevant. Machiavelli also believed that appearances matter more than reality. A leader does not always need to be virtuous, but must appear virtuous. This idea resonates strongly today in the age of social media. People carefully craft their online image, showing success, happiness, and strength, even when reality is different. The psychology of image management is something we all practice, consciously or unconsciously. Consider influencers and celebrities. Their power often comes not from who they truly are, but from the image they project. Machiavelli would not be surprised. He would say, yes, this is how humans work. People follow appearances, not truths. And modern psychology confirms this. Perception often shapes reality. What people believe about us can matter more than what is objectively true. But here is the danger. When we live only for appearances, we risk losing touch with our authentic selves. Psychology warns us that this can lead to anxiety, depression, and a constant feeling of emptiness. The mask becomes heavy. So the question is, how do we balance the need to project strength with the need to remain authentic? This is a challenge every one of us faces. Machiavelli's lessons are not about cruelty as many think. They are about realism. He observed people as they are, not as we wish them to be. And in that sense, he was one of the first true psychologists. He forced us to look at the uncomfortable truth. Humans are driven by fear, ambition, and self-interest. Recognizing this is the first step to understanding power and influence. So, as we close this first section, remember, Machiavelli teaches us that power is not only in politics, but in every human relationship. The way we balance fear, love, and appearances shapes our lives. In the next part, we will dive deeper into the hidden forces of the mind, guided by Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Stay with me because the journey is only beginning. Now let us step into the world of Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud believed that much of what drives us is hidden beneath the surface in the unconscious mind. He described 3 forces: the ID, the ego, and the superego. The ID is our raw desire, the ego is our rational self, and the superego is the voice of morality. Together, they create constant tension inside us. Imagine you are on a diet, but someone offers you a piece of cake. The ID screams, "Eat it now." The superego whispers, "You must resist. It's unhealthy." And the ego tries to negotiate. Maybe just one bite won't hurt. This inner conflict is something we all experience daily. Freud's genius was to show that our struggles are not random. They are structured battles inside the mind. Freud also believed that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. In dreams, our hidden desires and fears reveal themselves in symbolic form. That strange dream you had last week, it might not be meaningless. It could be your unconscious trying to speak. This idea changed the way people thought about the human mind forever. Suddenly, psychology was not just about behavior, but about hidden meaning. But Freud's theories were not only about dreams. He also explored repression, the way we push painful memories and desires deep into the unconscious. These repressed feelings do not disappear. They return in disguised forms: anxiety, slips of the tongue, or even physical symptoms. Freud called these Freudian slips. Have you ever said one word when you meant another and it revealed more than you wanted? Modern psychology has moved beyond many of Freud's ideas, but his influence remains. Advertising, film, and art still use Freudian concepts. Think of how often brands use symbols of desire, power, or childhood nostalgia. They are not selling products, they are speaking directly to your unconscious. And that is why Freud's work still matters. It explains why we are vulnerable to hidden persuasion. Let's make this personal. Think about a decision you made recently that you couldn't fully explain. Maybe you bought something you didn't need, or avoided someone without knowing why. Freud would say, look deeper. The unconscious is guiding you. This is both fascinating and unsettling. It means we are not always the masters of our own choices. Something deeper is pulling the strings. And here's the hook. If we can understand these hidden forces, we can begin to take back control. That is why Freud's work is not just theory, it is a tool for self-awareness. By noticing our slips, our dreams, and our irrational choices, we can uncover the unconscious patterns that shape our lives. And once we see them, we can change them. But Freud's vision was not the end of the story. In fact, one of his students broke away and created a new path. His name was Carl Jung, and he believed that Freud was too focused on sexuality and repression. Jung wanted to explore something bigger: the collective unconscious, the shared myths and symbols that connect all of humanity. And this is where our journey gets even more exciting. Before we move to Jung, let me ask you, have you ever felt drawn to a story, a movie, or a character without knowing why? Maybe a hero inspired you, or a villain reminded you of something inside yourself. Jung would say this is no accident. These are archetypes, universal patterns that live in all of us. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. So stay with me, because in the next section we will dive into Jung's world of archetypes: the hero, the shadow, the wise old man, and more. These are not just abstract ideas, they are living forces that shape our culture, our relationships, and even our dreams. If you thought Freud was fascinating, Jung will take us even deeper into the mystery of the human mind. Carl Jung, once Freud's student, believed that the unconscious was not only personal but also collective. He introduced the idea of the collective unconscious, a deep layer of the psyche shared by all humans. Within it live archetypes, universal symbols and patterns that appear in myths, religions, and stories across cultures. Think of the hero who faces trials, the shadow that represents our darker side, or the wise old man who offers guidance. These figures appear in ancient myths, fairy tales, and even modern movies. Why do we feel drawn to them? Jung would say, because they live inside us. They are part of our shared human story. When you watch a superhero film, you are not just entertained. You are connecting with the hero archetype. When you feel fear of a villain, you are meeting the shadow. These patterns resonate because they reflect parts of our own psyche. Jung believed that by recognizing these archetypes, we can better understand ourselves. But archetypes are not only in stories. They shape our daily lives. The mother archetype may appear in a caring teacher. The trickster may show up in a friend who always bends the rules. Once you start noticing them, you realize that archetypes are everywhere, guiding how we see others and ourselves. Here's a question for you. Which archetype do you feel closest to right now? Are you the hero, striving to overcome challenges? The seeker, searching for meaning? Or perhaps the caregiver, supporting others? Write your answer in the comments. I'd love to see which archetypes resonate most with you. Jung also spoke of individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating all parts of ourselves, including the shadow. He believed that ignoring our darker side only gives it more power. Facing it, however, makes us stronger. This is why stories of heroes confronting their shadows are so powerful. They mirror our own inner battles. Think about it, how often do we hide parts of ourselves because we fear judgment? Jung would say that true growth comes when we accept those hidden aspects. The shadow is not only evil, it is also potential. By embracing it, we unlock creativity, strength, and authenticity. This is why Jung's work still inspires therapists, writers, and artists today. Archetypes give us a language to describe the deepest parts of the human experience. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. We are part of a story that humanity has been telling for thousands of years. So next time you feel drawn to a character in a book or film, ask yourself, which archetype is speaking to me? And what does that say about my own journey? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might inspire someone else watching this video. In the next section, we will climb Maslow's pyramid of needs, from survival to self-actualization. This model will help us understand why some people focus on security while others chase meaning. Stay with me because this part will reveal where you are on your own path and how to move higher. Abraham Maslow gave us one of the most famous models in psychology, the hierarchy of needs. He imagined human motivation as a pyramid. At the base are our most basic needs: food, water, sleep. Without these, nothing else matters. Only when these are satisfied can we move upward. The next level is safety, the need for shelter, stability, and protection. Think about how much of your energy goes into feeling secure: a steady job, a safe home, reliable health. Without safety, higher goals feel impossible. This is why people in crisis cannot focus on dreams. Survival comes first. Above safety is love and belonging. Humans are social creatures. We crave connection, friendship, intimacy, and community. Even in our digital age, loneliness is one of the greatest struggles. Maslow reminds us, without love, we feel incomplete. This is why relationships, both online and offline, matter so deeply. Next comes esteem, the need for respect, recognition, and achievement. We want to feel valued, not invisible. Social media thrives on this level. Likes, comments, and followers feed our desire for esteem. But Maslow warned, if esteem is built only on external approval, it is fragile. True esteem must also come from within. At the top is self-actualization, the drive to become the best version of ourselves. This is where creativity, purpose, and meaning live. It is not about survival, but about fulfillment. Maslow believed that only a few people truly reach this level, but all of us can strive for it. So, where are you right now on Maslow's pyramid? Are you focused on survival, on building safety, on finding love, on gaining respect, or on self-actualization? Write your answer in the comments. It will be fascinating to see how different people place themselves on this journey. Maslow's model also explains why people sometimes seem selfish. If someone is struggling with basic needs, they cannot think about higher goals. This is not weakness, it is human nature. Understanding this makes us more compassionate. We realize that behavior often reflects unmet needs. But here's the twist. Even when our basic needs are met, we often get stuck. We chase esteem endlessly, never reaching self-actualization. Why? Because society rewards external success more than inner growth. Maslow challenges us to break free from this trap and ask, what truly fulfills me? Think about your own life. Are you climbing the pyramid or circling the same level again and again? What would it take to move higher? Sometimes it is not about doing more, but about shifting focus. Self-actualization begins when we stop asking, what do others expect? And start asking, what do I want to create? In the next section, we will meet modern thinkers like Kahneman and Frankl, who show us how our decisions and our search for meaning shape our lives. Stay with me because their insights will give you practical tools to understand your mind and to live with greater purpose. Kahneman, Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, showed us that our minds work in two systems. System 1 is fast, intuitive, emotional. System 2 is slow, deliberate, logical. Most of the time, we rely on System 1 because it saves energy. But this also makes us vulnerable to mistakes and biases. Think about it, when you meet someone new, you instantly form an impression. That's System 1, but when you carefully analyze a problem, weighing pros and cons, that's System 2. Kahneman's insight is that we often trust our gut too much, even when it misleads us. For example, we fall for stereotypes, we misjudge risks, we overestimate our knowledge. These are called cognitive biases. They shape our decisions every day, often without us noticing. Recognizing them is the first step to making better choices. Awareness gives us power. Here's a challenge. Next time you make a quick decision, pause and ask yourself, is this System 1 or System 2? Am I reacting automatically or thinking carefully? Write in the comments about a time when your intuition misled you or when slow thinking saved you. Now let's turn to Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the horrors of concentration camps and still found meaning in life. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, teaches us that even in suffering, we can choose our attitude. For Frankl, meaning is not a luxury, it is a necessity for survival. Frankl observed that prisoners who found meaning, whether in love, faith, or future goals, were more likely to endure. He wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." This idea is powerful. Meaning gives us strength beyond physical limits. In our daily lives, we may not face such extreme conditions, but the principle is the same. When we connect our actions to a deeper purpose, we become resilient. Work becomes more than a paycheck. Relationships become more than comfort. Life becomes a mission. So ask yourself, what gives your life meaning right now? Is it family, creativity, helping others, or personal growth? Share your answer in the comments. Your reflections might inspire someone else who is searching for their own why. Kahneman and Frankl together give us a powerful lesson. We must be aware of how we think, and we must anchor our lives in meaning. One without the other is incomplete. Rational decisions without purpose feel empty. Purpose without awareness can lead us astray. Balance is the key. In the next section, we will explore how psychology touches our everyday lives, in relationships, in work, and in the digital world. Stay with me because this is where theory becomes practice, and you'll see how these ideas explain the struggles and choices you face every single day. Psychology is not only about theories and books. It lives in our daily choices, in our relationships, in the way we work, and even in how we scroll through social media. Let's bring all these ideas closer to everyday life so you can see how they shape your world right now. Let's start with relationships. Attachment theory tells us that the way we bonded with our caregivers as children influences how we connect with partners as adults. Some people feel secure, others anxious, and some avoid closeness. Recognizing your style can explain why certain patterns repeat in love. Think about your own relationships. Do you often fear being abandoned? Do you crave closeness but also push people away? Or do you feel balanced and secure? Understanding your attachment style is the first step to building healthier connections. Share in the comments which style you think fits you best. Now let's move to work. Motivation is not only about money. Psychologists like Deci and Ryan showed that autonomy, mastery, and purpose are even more powerful. When we feel free to choose, when we grow in skill, and when our work has meaning, we thrive. Without these, burnout is inevitable. Have you ever felt exhausted even when your workload wasn't huge? That's often a sign of missing purpose. Burnout is not just about doing too much, it's about doing things that feel empty. Ask yourself, does my work connect to something meaningful? If not, what small change could bring purpose back? And then there is social media. Platforms are designed to trigger dopamine loops. Every like, every notification gives a tiny reward. This keeps us scrolling, often long after we plan to stop. Psychologists call this variable reinforcement, the same principle that makes slot machines addictive. But here's the paradox. While social media connects us, it can also make us feel lonelier. We compare ourselves to others' highlight reels and feel inadequate. Remember Machiavelli's lesson about appearances? Social media is the modern stage where everyone performs. The danger is forgetting that it's only a performance. So how do we use technology without letting it use us? The answer is awareness. Notice when you scroll out of habit. Ask yourself, am I seeking connection or just distraction? Write in the comments how you personally manage your screen time. Your strategies might help others. Psychology in daily life is about noticing patterns. In love and work and technology, we are guided by needs, archetypes, and unconscious drives. The more we see them, the more freedom we gain. Awareness is the first step toward change. And change is what makes life exciting. In the next section, we will bring everything together, from Machiavelli to Maslow, from Freud to Frankl, and see how these ideas form a complete picture of the human mind. Stay with me because the conclusion will not only summarize, but also give you a practical exercise to transform your own life. We have traveled through the minds of Machiavelli, Freud, Jung, Maslow, Kahneman, and Frankl. Each gave us a piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put those pieces together and see the bigger picture, a psychology of power, desire, meaning, and growth. Machiavelli showed us the raw dynamics of power, fear, love, and appearances. Freud revealed the unconscious forces shaping our choices. Jung gave us archetypes, the timeless patterns of human stories. Maslow mapped our needs from survival to self-actualization. Kahneman explained our thinking errors. Frankl reminded us of meaning. When we combine these insights, we see a complete human being, driven by needs, influenced by hidden desires, shaped by culture, but also capable of awareness and purpose. Psychology is not just about problems, it is about potential. It shows us how to live more consciously. Think about your own life. Where do you see Machiavelli's lessons about power? Where do Freud's unconscious drives appear? Which Jungian archetype speaks through you? Where are you on Maslow's pyramid? And what meaning, as Frankl would ask, gives you strength? Write your reflections in the comments. This integration is powerful because it reminds us that no single theory explains everything. Human beings are too complex, but together these thinkers give us a toolkit. With it, we can analyze our behavior, understand others, and make wiser choices. Knowledge becomes freedom. And here's the key. Awareness is not enough. We must act. Knowing about biases means little if we don't pause before decisions. Understanding needs means little if we don't climb higher. Recognizing archetypes means little if we don't embrace our shadow. Psychology is valuable only when lived. So here's your challenge. Tonight, write down one decision you made today. Then ask yourself, was it driven by fear or love, by unconscious desire, by an archetype, by a need, or by meaning? This simple exercise can reveal patterns that shape your life. Try it for a week. And please share your experience in the comments. Did you notice a hidden bias? Did you see how your needs influenced your choices? Did you discover an archetype guiding your actions? Your stories will not only help you reflect, but also inspire others watching this video. Remember, psychology is not just a science. It is a mirror. When you look into it, you see yourself more clearly. And when you see yourself clearly, you gain the power to change. That is the gift of these great thinkers. They give us tools to transform our lives. In the final section, we will close our journey with a reflection on what it means to live consciously in today's world. Stay with me until the end, because I will leave you with one last thought, a thought that may stay with you long after this video ends. As we near the end of our journey, let's pause and reflect. We have walked through centuries of thought, from Machiavelli's realism to Freud's unconscious, from Jung's archetypes to Maslow's pyramid, from Kahneman's biases to Frankl's search for meaning. Each thinker gave us a lens to see ourselves more clearly. But psychology is not just about knowledge. It is about transformation. The real question is, what will you do with these insights? Will you simply nod and move on, or will you take one idea and apply it to your life? Change begins not with information, but with action. Imagine if you started noticing your unconscious patterns as Freud suggested. Imagine if you embraced your shadow as Jung advised. Imagine if you climbed one step higher on Maslow's pyramid. Imagine if you paused before a quick decision, as Kahneman taught. Imagine if you found your why, as Frankl urged. This is not theory anymore, this is your life. Every day you have the chance to live more consciously, to choose meaning over emptiness, awareness over habit, authenticity over appearances. That is the true gift of psychology. It gives us the power to rewrite our own story. So here's my invitation. Tonight, take 5 minutes. Write down one insight from this video that struck you the most. Then write one small action you can take tomorrow to live it out. Share it in the comments. Your step might inspire someone else to take theirs. Because when we share our reflections, we create a community of growth. You are not alone in this journey. Thousands of people are watching this video with you, asking the same questions, facing the same struggles. Together, we can learn, grow, and support each other. And remember, staying until the end already says something about you. It shows curiosity, patience, and a hunger for knowledge. Most people quit halfway. You didn't. That means you are already on the path of self-awareness and growth. Celebrate that. The final thought I want to leave you with is this. Psychology is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. Wholeness means embracing both light and shadow, both strength and weakness, both reason and emotion. When you accept all parts of yourself, you become free. So as you close this video, ask yourself, what story am I living? And what story do I want to create? The answer to that question is the beginning of transformation. And psychology is the compass that can guide you on that journey. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. If this journey inspired you, leave a comment, share this video, and subscribe for more. But most importantly, take one insight and live it. Because the greatest discovery is not in books or theories, but in the way you choose to live your own life.